Hey everyone, your Shiksa Redeemed here again. Welcome back. Sorry if this channel is starting to feel like a diary, but for me, that's kind of what it is, like just a little bit. On the surface, we're talking about how Israel's leaders are reacting to Trump's re-election. But for American Jews, myself included, it's complicated. How do we grapple with the reality that Trump's presidency could be both a safeguard for Israel in a tough moment and a real danger to Jews here in the United States? Let's start with Israel. Trump's presidency was awesome for Israel in ways most Americans can't easily appreciate. He moved the United States Embassy to Jerusalem, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and supported Israel's right to defend itself against the Palestinian territories. Now, with hostages in Gaza and conflict flaring on multiple fronts with Hezbollah in Lebanon and potentially Iran, Israel needs allies. And for Israelis, a leader like Trump feels like stability, or at least predictability. Netanyahu's government, especially the settler movement, sees Trump as an ally in an increasingly unfriendly international landscape. With the United Nations often critical of Israel's policies, Trump's stance has given Netanyahu's government room to act decisively. So to hear Israeli leaders his return, calling it history's greatest comeback, is no surprise. But here's where my heart gets torn, honestly, because for American Jews, Trump's presidency doesn't feel like safety. It feels like a threat. I mean, this is his past comments, the rhetoric he's used, and the people he's aligned with, they've all stirred up anti-Semitic currents here. The anti-immigrant and nationalistic tone of his base doesn't bode well for a Jewish community of established immigrant families who now thrive in a multicultural America. Many of us, we fear what Trump's alignment with Christian nationalism means for our future. And this isn't just theoretical. We saw the rise in anti-Semitic incidents during his first term. Many Jews feel more vulnerable, and not just politically. It's about our lives, our places of worship, our communities. It's exhausting, really. On one side, Trump's policies could fortify Israel against threats that genuinely endanger its people. On the other, his leadership here at home has torn at the very fabric of the community I live in, and that's terrifying. And sorry if what I'm about to say is too religious, but I can't help wondering if Hashem has ordained this to fuel a renewed zeal for Zionism. Because for those who don't realize this, the Tanakh prophesied over and over that Hashem would do things to move us back there in the end of this age. Plus, I mean, there's a lot of talk in Jewish communities about pikuach nefesh, or preserving life, and this is where the inner conflict feels overwhelming. If you believe Trump's policies genuinely protect Israelis, do you turn your back on American Jews who will be vulnerable under his administration? Are those of us in the US just supposed to drop everything and return home en masse if things get bad enough? Whether for faith-based reasons or just to flee possible persecution of some kind, as we have 100 times before from pretty much all European countries, you know what I mean? It's a painful balancing act. Some argue that when Israel's safety is at stake, we as Jews have to stand behind policies that strengthen it, even if those policies are connected to a controversial figure like Trump. But is it morally just to sacrifice the safety and well-being of American Jews in exchange? And are we not also bound to ensure that American Judaism, a vital, thriving community, stays alive and safe? Then there's the real kicker. Trump's potential policy changes in the United States could impact all of us in ways we can't yet fully understand. His plans reportedly involve entrenching Christian nationalist ideals in government. Jewish and other minority groups rely on a secular government to protect our right to worship, to live by our own values. And Trump's re-election could push the opposite agenda, which is particularly painful for Jews who view pluralism as a central value. It comes down to community, as the author of the article I read put it. No matter where we land politically, American Jews need to band together to keep our community safe, to fight back against discrimination and anti-Semitism, no matter its source. If we are not for ourselves, who will be? And yet, if we stand only for ourselves, if we ignore Israel's needs, are we really holding to our values? It's messy, and I don't have the answers. But I do know this. We can't be passive, whether we live in America or Israel. It's time to face these questions, painful as they are, because we need solutions that protect both our community here and Israel. So to all of you struggling with the same conflict, I see you. We've got each other. We're all we have, and that's going to have to be enough. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep the faith. Yisrael Kai.